Am I wrong for saying I will call social services if my sister-in-law keeps leaving her child at my place? I, 30 female, have a half-brother, Enzo, 40 male. We're not very close since we're both raised with our prospective mothers, but he has always gone out of his way to help me with anything I've needed. Enzo married his wife, Steph, 33 female, 2 years ago. Steph has a daughter, Alice, 4, with her ex, but has sole custody, and Enzo and Steph have a 7-month-old son, Teddy. I also have a 3-year-old daughter. Enzo and Steph moved to the city I live in when Steph got pregnant, and since then, Steph developed a habit of showing up at my apartment building unannounced. It became a problem, and I talked to both her and Enzo about it, and she stopped until she gave birth. Now she regularly drops by unannounced to leave Alice in my building for babysitting while she has to run errands or something. She's had her carpool drop off Alice at my apartment before. My poor housekeeper is a wonderful woman who has had to deal with Alice arriving unexpectedly while I'm out, and I feel terrible about it. I've told the concierge not to let her up and to say no one is in, but then I'll draft Alice waiting in the lobby, which is not safe, and the concierge has told me I can't make them responsible for a child. Steph keeps saying she only does it when she's desperate, but I don't see how she can be that desperate to run errands at least twice a week. And frankly, I'm not a nanny, and if she's desperate, she needs to hire some help. I've spoken to Anzo, and he's always extremely apologetic and says he will talk to her. And I believe he does, but he also works during the day and can't police where she is at all hours. I reached my breaking point a couple of days ago when I returned from lunch to find Alice at home, having been dropped off since she had a half day at school. I apologized profusely to my housekeeper, who had spent time playing babysitter, and called Steph. No answer. I called her several times, and then Enzo, who was on a business trip and distraught over the situation. Steph eventually turned up a couple of hours later, and I went ballistic. I said if she ever leaves Alice at my building again, I will call social services, and I will call them every single time she drops Alice off with me until they do something, because this is not my job and she's an irresponsible and neglectful parent. She burst into tears and begged me to help out with Alice, but I said no and reminded her I've never said yes in the first place. She just kept dumping her kid here. Steph kept trying to guilt trip me, but I was too exhausted and upset about the situation to be receptive, and eventually my husband had to tell her to leave. I feel bad because, as I said, Enzo has never been anything but the most accommodating person where I'm concerned, and maybe treating his wife like that was harsh. But at the same time, I chose to have one kid because I don't want another. Steph can't use my house as a daycare. Was I too harsh? I don't understand the concept of just dumping your children with people who clearly tell you over and over and over, I don't want to be in the presence of your child. Please stop doing that. If you're very poor, very desperate, single mother, struggling, you have nobody, and even then, but from the sounds of it, why can't she just hire help if her husband has the money for her? Why does she keep just dumping her child on people who don't want to be in her presence? Am I wrong for not leaving the gym after a woman was intimidated by me? I, 26 male, work a job in a remote location. I stay at a camp with 600 people. There is an attached gym that is a 5-minute walk from my room. It is a decent-sized gym with basketball court and 2 weight rooms and a track upstairs. I had the day off, so I went to the gym to kill time. When I went to the gym, there was one other person that I saw. We were both in the weight room. After I finished my second set of my first exercise, she came over and told me that she felt uncomfortable being alone in the gym with the guy and asked if I would leave. I told her I would go to another part of the gym, but that it was unreasonable to ask me to leave. She gave me an annoyed look and left the gym. I had already started and didn't want to stop and come back later. On the other hand, it's only a 5-minute walk to my room, so it would have only been a minor inconvenience for me to leave and come back later since she was there first. Am I the a-hole for excluding my adopted sister from family photos? This is a throwaway and I'm using fake names. I am 26 female and my adopted sister Ali is 14 female. The way we're related is that my younger brother Michael, 24 male, has been with his wife Maya, 24 female, since they were freshman year of high school. Maya and Ali had a really bad home life, and my mom is very much a my home is open to everyone type of person. So over the year, Maya began spending more and more time at our house, eventually bringing Ali over as well since she always was babysitting. By the time Michael and Maya were 16 years old, Maya basically lived in the guest room, and Ali spent after school, most weekends, holidays, and summer vacation at our house. My mom and dad say that they both love Maya and Ali like their own children. My other siblings, 18 male and 16 female, also treat her like she's part of the family. Even after Maya and Michael moved out, Allie still is at their house the same amount, if not more, than she was before. Not to preface, I have nothing against Allie. She's a good kid and I make an effort to be nice to her. However, I've never really liked how she was forced into our lives. She's not actually adopted and she still has parents and her own family. Yet my parents spend so much time and resources on her. It's ridiculous. Everyone else has started ironically calling her their daughter or sister, and I've refused. I just don't consider her to be family. Anyways, I got married recently, which is where the issues start. I invited Allie to the wedding, of course, and she came with all of my other family. When we were doing pictures of the wedding parties, I decided that I wanted one with all of my immediate family. So my parents, my siblings, and Maya and Michael's daughter. My mom brought Allie up to come take the picture with us, and I was forced to tell her no. My mom started to get upset, but then Allie said it was okay and sat down by herself. My mom isn't a very confrontational person, so she didn't make a big deal out of it. But then everyone else realized that Allie wasn't there and they got mad as well. Ultimately, we took the photo how I wanted it because they didn't want to do this at my wedding. But my entire family is pissed at me now. My mom said that Allie cried when she got home because I don't love her, which I don't. I feel like they forced into a position where I had to do an a-hole thing by forcing this kid onto me. I don't think I should have to consider her family if I don't want to. Am I the a-hole? Edit 1. After the ceremony, but before the reception, the wedding party, and both of our close families took photos. I did not include Allie in this photo session, and she sat with the rest of the regular guests waiting for dinner. I did not intentionally exclude her from any of the photos taken. I'm sure she's in some of them from throughout the night, especially because she was there with my family. I hope that clears things up. Edit 2. Maya and Allie are sisters. Sorry, forgot to explicitly say that in my post. Final edit. The people who are agreeing with me are starting to convince me that I'm wrong. To people calling my parents nasty things in my PMS or just saying that they aren't good people, you're dead wrong. My mom is the most caring and kind-hearted woman in the world, and I should have made that more clear in my post. To be clear, I'm also not a monster. I don't mistreat Allie. I get her birthday and Christmas gifts every year. However, I'm starting to understand that I did do a thing by publicly excluding her at my wedding because I wanted it to be exactly how I imagined, especially because my mom was apparently blindsided by my feelings. I was 16, 18 when Allie started coming around a lot and I didn't form the same bond everyone else did. I never super liked being around kids, including my sister who, by all accounts, behaved way worse than Allie ever did. But I recognize that she's become part of our family and I think I'm going to make more of an effort to get to know her properly because I do know she is very mature and intelligent for her age. I also don't mean to minimize what Maya and Allie have gone through by saying she wasn't physically abused. I more so meant to explain why she hadn't been legally removed from her mother's house. She does have extended family that actually care about her, but they live at minimum an hour away, so she stays with my parents the majority of time. Thank you for your input. If there is one thing I would wish for in this world, is to take care, include children who don't have good families or children who don't have a family. Because imagine being a child in this world and your own flesh and blood not wanting you. That would have been so sad. She could have just included the girl in a couple of pictures and then took pictures with her own family. Like, it was not that deep. OP seems like she does not like this little girl for some odd reasons. Am I wrong for leaving up a picture that angers my mother-in-law? I, 25 female, married my husband Joe, 27 male, 4 months ago. We did it all through high school and college, so we've been in each other's lives and in each other's families for quite some time. Joey's father died when we were seniors in high school, and his sister Jill died 3 years ago. Since then, his mother Jane has been, in my opinion, unhinged. I cannot imagine her sense of loss, and I know everyone has their own grief process, so I really try not to judge, but she makes everything about her grief. She didn't come to our college graduation because she would never get to see Jill graduate from college. We try to be especially kind to her on Mother's Day, but she spends hours at the cemetery and gets very irritated if we leave before she's ready to. She insists we give our first child her husband's name as a first or middle name and gets angry when we say we'll name our future children as we see fit. There have been other incidents too. She's done so much to push Joey away while also relying on him for emotional and sometimes financial support. They have a very unhealthy relationship now. It came to a head when we were wedding planning. I invited her to come wedding dress shopping with me, my mom, my grandma, and my maid of honor. I told her she did not need to come if it was going to be painful for her, but she said she would be happy to. To our surprise, she came and brought a wedding gown that Jill had purchased to save for her own wedding someday. She said it would help her if I tried on, and I did, which made her cry, but then she insisted that it was my dress and I did not need to get another one. After multiple refusals, she pouted the rest of the time. It was so awkward for everyone. This led to a lot of drama to the point where Joey and me, but mostly Joey, did not want her at the wedding because we couldn't trust her to not cause some kind of scene and because we thought it would be terrible for her mental health. We asked her not to come and she agreed not to. I got to have a dance with my dad and my mom surprised Joey by stepping in for a mother's dance with him. They smiled and laughed the whole time. It was the most special part of our wedding to me. I recently changed my FB cover photo to picture of Joey and my mom dancing and laughing. Jean saw this and has been coming at us for it, saying it's just a reminder that she was excluded from her son's wedding day. I told her I'm not taking it down and that if she doesn't want to see it, she can simply not look at my FB. She says I am inconsiderate of her feelings and that I am an a-hole for this because it drives another wedge between her and her son. I mean, losing two people that you love, like a child and a husband, in such a short time can literally make anybody go crazy. And it sounds like OP's mother-in-law needs to see somebody for help because at some point you can't make other people's lives miserable just because you're feeling miserable. And also, your other family members are dead. The child in front of you also needs you. That's what people forget sometimes. Like, you'll see someone who's grieving, like a parent grieving, or like a spouse grieving for their spouse that died, and they would neglect everybody else in front of them. Like, your husband died and your child died, which is very, very unfortunate and very sad. But you also have a living child that also needs your help, your support, and for you to be well, for you to be there with them, you know? So I don't know, she just needs help.